No, see, I don't think so. I think it's the fight scenes in it are fantastic. But,
well, it's, I didn't even know what the internet was, so here I am playing this killer that sets up video cameras and doing something with a phone to send this image. I'm like, what the hell is this? How does this work? To do it now, we could, this could kind of be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy how, because it was quite early in the sort of years of the internet. It was done in, 96, was it? 97?
96.
Yeah.
96.
So, I only just remember email in 96 coming about. So the fact that he had, a little video camera and the fact he was doing all this stuff through the internet, it was quite sort of forward thinking in its own.
I did, yeah, it was. But I thought this is ridiculous. What kind of a movie we're making here? Science fiction film.
This wouldn't have a catch on. I was going to say, did you do a lot of the action, the fight choreography on that? Did you do the fight choreography on that?
No, Tony Leung, who actually went on to be Sammo Hung's assistant and co-fight choreographer on Ip Man, the first Ip Man. So it was Tony Leung and his brother, and he brought a team over from Hong Kong.
And our action sets, one of the things I was going to ask is, action sets usually, are they fun places, or is it lots of hard work and discipline?
Well, when I'm working for Hong Kong action directors, it's more like being in a dojo, you have that respect for them, and I never really had much in the way of opinions when it came to what I'd like to do, or this or that, the other, it's, you just trust that, they're Hong Kong action directors, and they're going to make you look good. I just finished a movie for Yuen Woo-ping, and again, another sort of hero of mine, with the Drunken Master and all the movies that he did. So, and I'd seen the movie, so I knew that, I knew that, they know how to make you look good. And I grew up watching Hong Kong movies. So it's fun, but it's hard work because you don't want to let anybody down, And they shoot so fast that it's constant, boom, 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 boom. So you're just working really hard. And it's a great way to start your career because, once you start doing movies in America and all this stuff, it's a lot slower here, and it's fun because you're living your dream working in a kung fu movie or martial arts movies, but you work your ass off,
Yeah, of course.
You don't want to let anybody down. You want to give them your best, so you've got to be on all the time. It's constantly. When I did Ip Man 2, it was basically, I was going for, running in the morning, shooting 15 hours straight, come back, lifting weights, get 4 hours sleep and repeat, for like a month.
Wow.
Just got to be on. You're working there for Sammo Hung and with Donnie Yen and Wilson Yip, and you're like, this is the pinnacle of what I wanted to do as far as working in an Asian film. So, you've just got to give your best.
Definitely.
So after Bloodmoon, over the next few years, you got to work with quite a few action stars like Olivia Gruner, David Carradine, Matthias Hughes, and recently Steve Austin, Dolph Lundgren. What's the community like on those sort of films? Is there much of a community?
Because they've all worked with each other over the years, so do they all know each other? And do you feel like you've been embraced by that with the amount of work you've done with these guys? Or?
Yeah, it is interesting, yeah, because some of the guys, they're not fans of the kung fu movies and or whatever, but we all certainly sort of know each other. It's kind of weird. I had a lot of fun with Olivia Gruner. We did that movie G.O.D. in Canada, and that was the one that David Carradine was on, and he was a lot of fun too. And you work with people like him, Mark Dacascos. I worked with him on Jesse Johnson's movie Alien Agent.
Yeah.
And the whole time I was working with Mark, I was throwing out lines from the movie Drive. Time to come home, Toby. And all that stuff. So I had a lot of fun with him because you watch their movies and you get the chance to work with people that you really are fans of. So it's not like just meeting, Steve Austin or Steven Seagal or any of these guys and getting a chance to have a picture with them or an autograph or ask them questions or, like you guys, you'd interview them or whatever it is. You're getting a chance to just actually work with them and hang out, just shoot the shit as guys, Steve Austin's like, come in my trailer, let's chat about acting and all this kind of stuff. And it's great, it puts you in a different level and you get a different perspective. I wouldn't say these guys are all my friends, but, certainly we, it's great working with people like that you sort of, certainly the guys that you grew up, having the posters on your wall and everything.
Right, definitely. And also noticed looking through your filmography and stuff, and in fact, I just sat through In the Name of the King the other night, that you worked...
Oh, you did, really?
Yes, I did. But you worked several films, actually, with Overball as actor and stuntman and things like that. How did that collaboration come about?
Well, it came about because I did a couple of pictures in Germany for a director called Olaf Ittenbach. Okay. And actually, Matthias Hughes, I did a picture called Hostile Environment with Matthias and Brigitte Nielsen. Mm-hmm. And Matthias and we got along really, really well. We met like the year before at MIFED, the film market in Milan, where Bloodmoon was screening. And he wanted to work with me, and he introduced me to the people over there in Germany. And I did this film, Legion of the Dead, and then another one called Beyond the Limits for Olaf. And Uwe was familiar with those films that I'd done, so he actually brought me in to read for a part on House of the Dead. And they hired somebody else, but he wanted to work with me, so he gave me a role in Alone in the Dark. But the role ended up getting cut really short. You know, I was supposed to have a nice fight scene with Christian Slater, but Stephen Dorff apparently wanted to be like the movie and wanted to be in it a little bit more, and they put him in a different scene, so they didn't have time to shoot my fight scene with Slater. So I did that one, and then what was the other one? Blood Rain,
yeah. And Post.
Yeah, Blood Rain. Yeah, he put me in that. He's like, you'll be, in all these scenes with Ben Kingsley.
Yeah. He works with great actors, and yeah.
And then there was In the Name of the King, and I went on and I read for the part that Brian White got. And it was, but Uwe said to me, he said, look, for this movie, it's a big movie with a big budget, and, you're not a name yet, and I need names. And I was disappointed. He'd given me the script a couple of months earlier. I was playing poker with Will Sanderson, and he was around, and he gave me the script, and he says, got a great role in here for you. And then he ended up saying, well, I can't really use you because you're not a name yet. And so they hired somebody else, and I was disappointed. But, he got 10 names in that movie, and I think it made about $2.8 million opening weekend. So yeah. That's what you got, But the great thing was that Dean Cho, the stunt coordinator, Canadian stunt coordinator, Dean Che, he was on the picture, and then they had Tony Ching Xiu-dong, doing the second unit, and as the film's fight choreographer, second unit director, and he knew me because of Tai Chi 2, the Yonel Ping film. And Dean actually said to me, look, if Uwe's not going to use you, I will, so I want to get you on the Uwe ended up giving me this small part, just little throwaway part.
Yeah, I saw that,
talking with Burt Reynolds. And then they ended up getting me to come in and be Ray Liotta's stunt double. So that end fight scene with Jason Statham was basically me with Statham doing the end fight. And then Ray came in for his close-ups and stuff. And the whole time I was thinking, damn, I want to do a movie with Jason Statham where I'm the bad guy. It's one of the things. Yes. I'm like, oh, here I am doing stunts, But it was good. It was good fun. Statham was great, and I enjoyed working on the movie.
Yeah, because obviously you've got to work with Gary Daniels and you've got to work with Jason Statham. I suppose you and Scott Adkins have got to do something next to keep the Brit group together.
We have. We did a TV show, French TV series called Metal Hurlant. It's not released here or in England yet. And we did an episode called The King's Crown. It's me, Scott Adkins, Michael Jai White, Matt Mullins.
Oh, wow.
And I think in a couple of weeks I'm going back. We're going to do season 2 in Romania.
Oh, nice. So do you have any information as to when that's going to be available out here? That sounds amazing.
No, you can. It's Metal Hurlant, which is translated is heavy metal.
Right.
That those graphic novels, heavy metal. With all those gorgeous babes on the front cover.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's all that kind of stuff. So this French director Guillaume Lebrano, he acquired the rights, and we did the TV series of it. So yeah, look out for it. It's, me and Scott, Michael Jai White.
Nice,
and being really good.
And do you Brit guys, when you're on film, do you ever have this idea about, because we would love it as action fans to see maybe the 4 of you together, or expand it and have a British Expendables type thing? Is that anything that's ever been discussed?
Well, you know what, Matthias Hughes, actually 15 years ago, we had a meeting with this big producer in Hollywood, and we were going to do this film where they wanted, Matthias and Olivia Gruner, Mark Dacascos, Don Wilson, all the Daniel Bernhardt, the Mike Dudikoff, all these guys, put them all together in a movie. And we're talking about, I'd be the bad guy because I wasn't a name. Nobody recognized me, right? But they would put all these guys together and do a film. And this was 15, 16 years ago, you know? I think the problem was it was like, well, who the hell's going to be first billing, you know, and who's going to have the bigger role? You know, you've got egos. I mean, they all have these great careers back then, you know. It was you know, logistically, it was difficult to figure out, you know, how we're going to get all these people together at the same time. But those kind of things have been discussed for, you know, quite a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, you'll certainly see me and Scott again, and hopefully, you know, I'd like to work with Gary again, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, we're big fans of all four of you, so I mean, the more films we get with some British ass kickers, the better.
Yeah.
So, Ip Man 2, obviously, that was, like you were saying, it's sort of a peak of your experiences so far, would you say, of all the films you've worked on?
Yeah, because Ip Man 2 was a second chance for me, man. Because, you know, I kind of, you know, you're pushed to be in these movies. And, you know, when you come from doing movies in Asia and you come over to America or whatever, I ended up marrying a girl from Canada. So, you know, I stayed there for a while. That's where I did I Spy. It was like I Spy, I think, was pretty much my first ever audition I ever did. Mm. And, you know, those movies, you know, the Bloodmoons, Hostile Environment, G.O.D., Cold Vengeance, all this stuff, it doesn't mean anything. You know, it doesn't mean anything to casting directors in America. You know, and even on your reel, you know, I don't think I have any footage from any of those movies on my show reel now. You know, I mean, nobody knows who they are or who you're working with. So it doesn't really help too much.
That's a shame.
Yeah,
I mean, sad that those movies, which, look, you know, people can sort of tongue-in-cheek talk about them and stuff now, and, you know, the internet is rife with people being, you know, ironically liking movies, but they're some of the best action movies out there to some extent, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I was disappointed that Bloodmoon never got a release in England. I thought, well, you know, you've got Gary Daniels as the star, me as the bad guy, you know, you've got two English guys here. I mean, I would have gone well out of my way to promote that movie or do interviews and all the martial arts magazines in England and stuff, but nobody picked it up. I think they wanted too much money for it. But yeah, I mean, you know, Ip Man 2 was you know, after I went through a divorce and all that kind of stuff, and I started having this sort of mindset where I was like, you know what, following your dream is one thing, but you really need some money in this world. You know, and so I started doing stunts for a little while. You know, I thought, all right, I'm going to quit acting. You know, friends of mine, you know, Brad Allen and Paul Rapowski, they called me about working on the Chronicles of Riddick. So, you know, I ended up doing that, and I worked for a week on the movie, and I made 10 grand, and I'm like, this is not bad, you know. And then Chuck was working with Wesley Snipes on Blade 3, and he brought me in to do stunts on Blade 3, and then I did that thing we just talked about on In the Name of the King, and then I was hired to double Van Damme on a movie called The Hardcore, and Sheldon Letterich was directing it. And then I got a phone call from Damon Caro, who was the stunt coordinator on 300, and he said he wanted me to work on this movie 300. It's going to be 3 months shooting in Montreal. So I spoke with the stunt coordinator on that Van Damme movie, and he said, look, dude, if you can, you know, if you want to go and work on that, go ahead. And he let me go, and I worked on 300. And I made more money working on 300 in 3 months than I'd made in like 15 years as an actor.
Wow.
So then they call me to do like stunts on, you know, when I say stunts, I mean, I don't, you know, it's fighting stuff. You know, I don't do, you know, cars, high falls, fire, horses, that kind of stuff. I mean, I never really consider myself a stunt performer, stunt guy. But unless, you know, it's the fighting stuff. And I did the Night at the Museum movies and stuff like that. But I made enough money doing those movies that I could return to acting and be more careful with the roles that I did. I didn't want to do another, you know, stupid bit part in an Uwe Boll movie. You know, I mean, it was just, you know, and I got cut out of a couple of movies. And, you know, some movies you get offered stuff and you think, well, this is not really going to help my career, but I need the money. So I did stunts for a while so I could have enough FU money to basically sort of pick and choose the films that I did as an actor. Yeah. You know, thankfully, you know, through Mike Leader and Ian Tang, his partner, they were casting the bad guy in Ip Man 2, and those guys had seen me in I Spy with Eddie Murphy playing a boxer and Tai Chi 2. And I got that part, so it was really sort of a second chance in my career. And because of Ip Man 2 and how successful it was, you know, I got all this other work has started to happen. So it's been a real blessing for me. I mean, look, I mean, it's kind of like coming full circle, you know, when you're a kid of, you know, 16, 17 years old, and you're looking at Donnie Yen going, man,